All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're exploring one of the world's most influential faiths, a religion that has shaped empires and is now the spiritual home for nearly 2 billion people. We're going to break down the origins, the core beliefs, and the incredible global story of Islam.
So, first things first, what does the word Islam even mean? Well, it comes from the Arabic root salima, which beautifully means both peace and submission. The core idea is that true peace, that inner tranquility, is found by submitting to the will of the one God, who in Arabic is called Allah.
Okay, this is a really key concept to grasp. The faith draws a line between two ideas, Islam and Iman. Think of it like this. Islam is the body of the religion. It's what you do, the outward actions, the practices you can see. But Iman is the soul. It's the deep internal belief in your heart that drives all of those actions. You can't really have one without the other.
Now, to get to the very beginning of this story, we have to talk about one person, the Prophet Muhammad. And here's something that might surprise you. For Muslims, Muhammad didn't invent a new religion, not at all. He's seen as the final messenger in a long line of prophets that includes figures you've definitely heard of, like Moses and Jesus. He's considered the seal of the prophets, the one who came to confirm and complete that same core message.
Wow, I mean, look at this timeline. It is an absolutely incredible story. Muhammad was born in Mecca, a bustling trade city full of different idols and gods. Then, at age 40, everything changes. He receives his first divine revelation. But this new message of one God was, well, it was radical. It was dangerous. He and his followers were persecuted, forcing them to flee to Medina in 622. That event, the Hijra, is so pivotal that it's literally year one on the Islamic calendar. But the story doesn't end there. Just 8 years later, he returns to Mecca as a leader, and by the time he passes away, he has united the entire Arabian Peninsula. Just a truly transformative life.
So you've got the core belief system, but what does it actually mean to live as a Muslim? What does the day-to-day look like? Well, it's all built around a really clear and structured framework.
These are the famous 5 pillars of Islam. You've probably heard of them before. They are the absolute must-dos, the non-negotiable foundations of a Muslim's life. You've got the declaration of faith, the discipline of praying 5 times a day, giving to charity, fasting during the month of Ramadan, and if you're able, making that once-in-a-lifetime journey to Mecca.
And this right here is the first pillar, the Shahada. It's so simple, but it contains the entire universe of the faith. To become a Muslim, you just have to recite this phrase with sincere belief. It's the key that unlocks the door to the whole thing.
The third pillar, zakat, is such a powerful example of faith in action. It's not just a suggestion, it's an obligation. Muslims are required to donate 2.5% of their savings every single year. The idea is that this act purifies your own wealth while directly supporting the poor and building a more just and compassionate society.
So, these pillars helped build an incredibly strong community, all sharing the same practices. But after the Prophet's death, a critical question popped up, a question that would cause a split that has shaped Islamic history for centuries.
So what was the problem? It was pretty simple. Who's in charge now? Muhammad had united everyone, but he hadn't officially named the person who would take over after him. And that ambiguity, right there, is what lit the fuse for the religion's biggest and most lasting division.
Basically, 2 different answers to that question emerged. On one side, a group argued, hey, the community should choose. Let's pick the most qualified person by consensus. They supported Abu Bakr, a close friend of the Prophet. This group would become the Sunnis. But another group said, whoa, hold on. Leadership isn't something you vote on. It's a divine right passed down through the Prophet's bloodline. They believed his son-in-law, Ali, was the rightful heir, and they became the Shia. Right there, that's the origin of the Sunni-Shia split. But here's the wild part. Even with this huge internal disagreement, the message of Islam didn't just survive. It absolutely exploded. Its spread across the globe is, without a doubt, one of the most remarkable stories in all of human history. I mean, just look at these numbers. The expansion was immediate and staggering. In just the first century after the Prophet's death, Islam spread across the Middle East, North Africa, and Persia. And that was just the beginning. Fast forward to 2010, and we're talking 1.6 billion Muslims. The projections from there are even more stunning. By 2050, that number is set to hit 2.8 billion, putting it nearly neck and neck with Christianity. And by the end of the century, it's on track to become the world's largest religious group.
Now, a lot of that growth comes from birth rates, for sure. But conversion is also a really significant piece of the story, especially in the West. In the United States alone, about 20,000 people convert to Islam every year, with thousands more in places like the UK, France, and Germany. And what's interesting is that in many of these countries, a majority of the new converts are women.
So, why? What is it that's drawing people in? Well, when you ask converts, you tend to hear a few key themes over and over. One is the absolute clarity of Tawheed, this uncompromising belief in the oneness of God. For others, it's the structured, disciplined lifestyle that the 5 pillars provide, and many, many people are drawn to the faith's deep emphasis on social justice and taking care of the community.
You know, when you take a step back, it's pretty mind-blowing. This all started with a single revelation to one man in a cave near Mecca, and today it's a global faith that shapes the daily lives of billions of people. It leaves you with this one big question to think about. What is it about this message, of submission, of faith, of community, that has allowed it to endure and expand for over 1,400 years?